Welcome back to tonight's Big Picture Rumble. Still with me, Gianno Caldwell, Nicole Williams, and Scott Greer. And let's get back to it. Potential Republican presidential candidates are standing by the Indiana's so-called religious freedom, a.k.a. discrimination law. Take a listen to what Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker had to say about the law and the outrage over it.
I just think this is people who are chronically looking for ways to be upset about things instead of really looking at what it is. I believe in protecting religious freedoms.
I believe in protecting religious freedoms. This law does not speak to or about churches. It talks about business. I believe in protecting business freedoms, too. But I don't think that business should be conducting religion, and I don't think religion should be conducting business, frankly.
You know what, as a federal lobbyist and an individual who has lobbied at the state level, I know a lot of times when laws are drafted and crafted, there are words that can be in there which could be rather ambiguous and allow for unintended consequences, just like the one in Indiana. I don't believe there's...
Hang on just
Wait a second.
You saw the picture of the four lobbyists standing behind Mike Pence? You know, three of them, you know, they're saying gay people are I mean, just saying evil things about gay people.
And that's wrong. I don't think
they're the ones who wrote the law, so don't tell me this was a mistake.
There's never a time for discrimination. I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic, whatever, you're gay, straight, whatever. You should not be discriminating against individuals. However, there is a need for a religious freedom law in this country.
Why?
Because there is an attack on Christianity. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Do you recall that time when a mayor said if a pastor doesn't agree to marry a same-sex couple, they can go to jail? Do you recall that time?
There is nothing, this law does nothing about that.
I'm utilizing an example.
Gianno, religious discrimination in religion is not only legal, it's appropriate. Nobody is going to suggest to a Catholic priest that he should conduct a Jewish ceremony. Nobody. It's not even rational.
There's been couples that have sued because a pastor or
not successfully.
They've sued.
Well, then
that
pastor is engaged in commerce. If somebody is running a wedding chapel in Las Vegas and it's a non-denominational wedding chapel, and they decide, oh, I don't want to marry that couple because of their color or because of their sexual orientation, or something, then you got a problem. But that's a business. We need to separate. But again, let's get everybody else here in.
Right. I mean, the law was poorly crafted. It was in its discrimination, just point blank. I mean, it should have never passed. But once again, you have, this hardline right-wing conservative pandering to their base. And I'm surprised at Scott Walker for coming out. But once again, I guess, he's kind of new to this whole presidential thing. And so he's pandering to, what he wants as his base. That's not going to play very well in a general election, but, we'll see if he ever finds that out. And it's discrimination. There's no reason why they're protecting. This is not about protecting religious freedom. That's what the Constitution is for. We already have that.
So would you be?
But it's not really discrimination. All this law does is give businesses that are sued for not baking a cake for a gay couple, that gives them a chance in court to hear their arguments and say it's a religion.
That is what it is. It's a defense.
It is, but it doesn't mean like, oh, I can't serve you because you're gay. It's just saying, look, producing this cake for your ceremony for something that violates my religious beliefs, I can't do that. And it gives them a chance in court to hear their appeal, so they're not sued for millions of dollars. This is really hurting small businesses more than it's hurting. It is definitely hurting small businesses. These people can run their own business to their own interests.
It's the same argument. It's the same argument they used to make back in the day. We're saying us serving African Americans will hurt my business.
But that was the whole government. That was the whole government and the whole society almost telling that business not to serve it.
That was absolutely
This is like one business going almost against society, saying it's against our religious beliefs to serve these ceremonies. So I think all it does is it doesn't even say like it's right for them. It just allows them to have that argument in court.
It's an affirmative defense, which means it's harder, if not impossible, for you to sue if you've been discriminated against. That's the essence of it. And where in a business license or an article of incorporation does it ask what religion your company is?
Well, let me ask you this question. How would you feel if it was a Muslim bakery and a Christian church wanted to come in and have them to bake their cake and put some negative things about the Muslim faith on the cake? Would you be okay with the Muslim bakery declining the business then, or would it be discrimination?
if the Muslim bakery is incorporated as a church, then they have the right to religiously discriminate.
So you're not
if you're talking about a bakery that happens to be owned by Muslims, then you got a whole different thing. I mean, we've been through this. We've been through this all the way to the Supreme Court. You know, Orthodox Jews own a business in New York City. They don't want to be open on Saturday. Sorry, there are some kinds of businesses where you have to be, open on Saturday, and it's.
So I think you and I may actually be in agreement on this issue if what I'm hearing you is correct. My grandparents are both ministers, grandfather, grandmother. They're very religious. If a same-sex couple came to them and said, hey, I would like for you to marry us, they would decline politely because of
They should have every right to do that.
So you're saying that's okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If a church doesn't, or if Rudy Giuliani comes in and says, I want to marry my 5th wife, the Catholic Church for a long time said no, right? I got no problem with that.
Okay.
But if somebody's doing something with a business license to make a profit, I don't care how religious they claim they are, they're in business. And there are rules for business, and the first rule for business is you don't discriminate.
Right. And I agree, and I think...
Under the original version of the law, if there's legitimate discrimination, the gay couples would take them to court and have them all for the money. But all it does is that there's a legitimate concern, it gives them the defense in court.
I respectfully disagree, but anyway, let's move along. The Tennessee chapter of the Koch brothers-funded Americans for Prosperity has launched new TV ads and radio ads attacking Tennessee Governor Bill Haslam's, Republican by the way, plan to expand Medicaid under Obamacare. Meanwhile, in Florida, an Americans for Prosperity lobbyist was slammed by a Republican state senator, maybe one of the last remaining Dwight Eisenhower Republicans here, for this group's actions. Take a look.
I appreciate the mail-outs you do against me on a monthly basis that say that I give money to Hollywood moguls, which of course I don't have any money to give, and neither does the state of Florida give money to Hollywood moguls. You're called Americans for Prosperity. You're all on the Koch brothers' payroll. Good for you. I'm glad you're employed because it's jobs, jobs, jobs here in the state of Florida. So I hope you're getting paid a lot of money to show up at these meetings and say meaningless things. Obviously, you're for prosperity for yourself and not other people in the industry. We have over 100,000 people in the film industry in the state of Florida. We have multiple film schools where we educated these kids. They would like to now work in the state they were probably born in. And you people serve absolutely no purpose. So keep sending out those mail-outs. My fans appreciate it.
Is this, I mean, one of the things, in the New York Times did a really nice expose or article about this maybe 4 or 5 months ago, about how Americans for Prosperity and basically the Koch brothers machine, they have offices all across the country. It's in many ways as big and as efficient and as competent as the entire Republican Party, and maybe more so in some areas, probably less in others. Is the Republican Party starting to have second thoughts about these guys?
Well, they don't control the Republican Party. There's several other donors who have much bigger control, or
Can
much
you name
bigger.
one other
Yes,
Republican who
Sheldon
has spoken out
Adelson.
against the Koch brothers?
Look, there are. Well, these these governors and senators that you just mentioned are going against the Koch brother interests.
No, the Kochs
do not
just knocked down Tennessee. They killed the Tennessee expansion. 280,000 people.
Well, that's because most of the state legislature is much more conservative than Bill
including the
Haslam.
woman who was standing there in front of them with bladder cancer, who doesn't have the $8,000 for the operation and is going to die without the insurance. They said no to her, told her to go home and die.
Look, if the Koch brothers had all this much influence, then how does the Republican Party nominate people they don't like, such as John McCain, Mitt Romney, and possibly even Jeb Bush in 2016?
I think those are
do these people have?
They're the legacy folks.
If they control the party, why do the top nominees go against their interests? They're not putting up who they want.
I think at this point there's a couple different things that we're missing. We're making it all about the Koch brothers. I get that that's an element of the conversation.
Well, it's really kind of meta to a half a dozen billionaires or something. I mean, Shelley Adelson.
It's an element of the conversation, but at state legislatures all over the country, bills have died where there was supposed to be expansion of Medicaid. And this bill happened to die by 7 votes in a Senate committee.
after the Koch brothers, after Americans for Prosperity,
there was a
spent
number of
fortune
folks
on
involved.
ads.
There was a number of folks involved, and if their constituency did not want
But it was
to
going to pass
expand,
before Americans for Prosperity
well,
began
maybe
their advertising
Americans for Prosperity have the ability to run ads just like you and any of us on this panel do. That's their fully.
Well, I don't have the
I don't have the
dollars that they have, so I don't know about that
But it's
part.
it's fully within their rights. And if they sent out a message that people said it resonated with them, and they called their legislators and said, "Hey, I don't want
So
you to
you're
support
all in favor
that."
of a political system where whoever has the most money and buys the most ads gets what they want?
I'm in favor of a political system where people can actually go out, meet the constituents, and say, "This is my message.
So
what do you
you're
think?"
contradicting yourself.
No. You said more money. I said get the message out. That's precinct walkers and anybody else.
All right, which the Kochs also have.
Yes,
Nicole?
I mean, it's very disappointing that the legislation died in committee, and I mean, Thom is right. This is the Koch brothers once again inserting their influence. It's a clear example of it. And so to say that they don't have, I mean, I'm not saying that they own the Republican Party, but from my perspective as a Democrat, it sure kind of seems that way most of the time.
See, Scott, my take on this.
I do want to say this. In Tennessee's case, most Tennesseans oppose Obamacare. They don't want their governor expanding any
No, but over
provisions
90%,
it.
actually no, over 90% of Tennesseans, including a majority of Republicans, wanted an expansion of TennCare, which is what the governor was expanding. If you ask them if they want Obamacare, they'd say no. But what the governor in Tennessee had done is what a lot of these Republican governors have done. They figured out a way to take that federal money with a waiver from the president and hand it off to a for-profit company so they can skim 20% off the top, kick that back to the Republicans as campaign
most
contributions.
of these people do not want any more expansion of Obamacare. It's wildly unpopular in states like Tennessee. They don't want anything to do with it. It's not like the Koch brothers are imposing their will upon the state of Tennessee or any other state.
No,
it's
there
is a common
Tell me I'm wrong about
opposition.
this. Okay, tell me I'm wrong about this. That the Republican Party, and particularly or the conservative movement, is basically made up of rich people and suckers. And arguably, there are the shills for the suckers who are promoting the idea. And what the Republicans need is they need to, or what the Koch brothers, they've got the Americans for Prosperity people in there saying, oh, you don't want this. It's not in your best interest. To 280,000 people. People are going to die.
But we got to keep this in mind. What you just said was TennCare. So it was a renaming of the Affordable Care Act.
Well, no, TennCare is the old.
TennCare's
Right.
existed
Yeah,
for a while.
but in
Medicaid.
terms
we
of
got to wrap it up here. I'm sorry. Gianno, Nicole, Scott, great to have you all with us. Thanks so much.